Join me as I dive deep into the chilling world of unsolved mysteries and try to piece together the stories of missing people that have baffled everyone. There's something inherently unsettling about a person vanishing into thin air. We're left with more questions than answers, and the mystery surrounding their disappearance can be overwhelming. Despite the tireless efforts of investigators and families, many cases remain unsolved, leaving us to wonder what happened to these individuals. When someone goes missing, the authorities face an uphill battle. They're often met with a lack of leads, limited resources, and the daunting task of piecing together fragments of evidence. This can lead to a frustratingly slow investigation, leaving families in a state of limbo, desperate for any hint of what might have happened to their loved one. The emotional toll of these situations cannot be overstated. Families are left to pick up the shattered pieces of their lives, struggling to accept the unexplained absence of someone they love. It's a breeding ground for anxiety, fear, and uncertainty, with every passing day feeling like an eternity. The uncertainty is compounded by the fact that, in many cases, there are no clear motives or suspects. It's as if the missing person has vanished into thin air, leaving only unanswered questions and a trail of cryptic clues. One such case is the mysterious disappearance of the Sodder children on Christmas Eve in 1945, an event that continues to baffle both investigators and true crime enthusiasts. The Sodder family, who lived in Fayetteville, West Virginia, was a tight-knit group of Italian immigrants with 9 children. On that fateful night, 5 of the children, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were asleep upstairs when a fire allegedly broke out in their home. The fire quickly consumed the house, and while George and Jenny Sodder, along with 4 of their children, managed to escape, the 5 children trapped inside were never seen again. In the aftermath, authorities conducted an extensive search through the charred remains of the house, but failed to find any human remains, which was highly unusual. The lack of bodies, combined with several odd circumstances surrounding the fire, led many to believe that the children may not have perished in the blaze at all. For instance, the Sodders reported strange occurrences leading up to the fire, including a man watching their house and a phone call late at night with no one on the other end. Additionally, George Sodder had been outspoken in his opposition to Italian dictator Benito Mussolini, and some speculated that the fire could have been an act of retaliation by Mussolini supporters, leading to the possibility of the children being abducted. Theories about the disappearance have ranged from a tragic accident caused by faulty wiring, as authorities initially claimed, to a much more sinister plot involving kidnapping and a cover-up. Over the years, the Sodder family received strange letters and photographs, including one purporting to show an adult version of one of the missing children, Maurice. Despite these tantalizing leads, the truth behind what happened to the Sodder children has remained elusive for nearly 8 decades, leaving behind one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in American history. The case continues to be a source of speculation, with many wondering whether the fire was a diversion to hide a more nefarious crime. In another baffling and deeply unsettling case, 23-year-old Maura Murray vanished under mysterious circumstances following a car accident in rural New Hampshire in 2004. Maura, a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, was last seen on February 9th when her car skidded off the road and crashed into a snowbank on Route 112 near Woodsville, New Hampshire. A nearby resident noticed the accident and offered to call for help, but Maura declined, saying she had already contacted roadside assistance. When authorities arrived at the scene minutes later, Maura was gone, leaving behind her car, some personal belongings, and a trail of unanswered questions. Despite extensive search efforts, including ground and air searches, bloodhounds, and a media blitz, no trace of Maura has ever been found. Her sudden disappearance has sparked numerous theories, ranging from foul play to the possibility that she staged her disappearance to start a new life. Some believe Maura may have been the victim of an opportunistic crime, abducted after her car crash. In contrast, others point to her recent personal troubles, including relationship issues and a potential history of reckless behavior, as signs that she may have planned to vanish on her own. Investigators uncovered a series of puzzling clues, including a cryptic email she sent to her professors claiming a family emergency, and the fact that she packed up her dorm room days before her disappearance. Still, these clues have only deepened the mystery rather than solved it. The case has since become one of the most heavily discussed disappearances in modern true crime, with internet sleuths and amateur detectives poring over every detail, searching for any shred of evidence that could explain what happened to Maura Murray. Despite these efforts and multiple tips over the years, no credible leads have emerged, leaving Maura's family and law enforcement in a frustrating limbo. Her father, Fred Murray, has been particularly vocal, tirelessly pursuing answers and maintaining that foul play was involved. With each passing year, the case grows colder, yet the haunting question remains. What happened to Maura Murray on that icy winter night in 2004? The case of Dennis Martin is equally as perplexing as it is tragic. On June 14, 1969, 6-year-old Dennis Martin vanished without a trace while on a family camping trip in the vast and remote Great Smoky Mountains National Park, marking the beginning of one of the most extensive and frustrating search efforts in U.S. history. Dennis, his father, and his older brother had been enjoying a Father's Day weekend camping in the Cades Cove area. While playing a game of hide-and-seek with his brother and other children near Spence Field, Dennis darted behind some bushes, intending to surprise the group. However, when he failed to reappear within minutes, his father, William Martin, became alarmed. Despite searching the immediate area and calling for Dennis, there was no response. Within hours, a family search became a massive rescue operation involving the National Park Service, local authorities, the FBI, and even the U.S. Army. Over the following weeks, an estimated 1,400 searchers, including park rangers, volunteers, and military personnel, combed the rugged terrain for any sign of Dennis. Bloodhounds, helicopters, and even Green Berets were brought in to assist, but despite the exhaustive efforts, no trace of the boy was ever found, not a single piece of clothing, footprint, or any other clue to suggest what might have happened. The weather, which turned from sunny to stormy shortly after Dennis disappeared, further hampered the search, with heavy rains washing away potential tracks or evidence. Several theories have emerged over the years, some more plausible than others. One possibility is that Dennis fell victim to the unforgiving wilderness, perhaps succumbing to an animal attack or becoming lost in the dense woods and rough terrain, unable to find his way back to camp. Others have speculated that Dennis may have been abducted, especially after a family camping in a nearby area reported hearing a child scream and seeing a rough-looking man running through the woods on the day of the disappearance. While this sighting has fueled theories of foul play, no concrete evidence has ever linked the incident to Dennis's case. Despite the passing of more than 5 decades, the disappearance of Dennis Martin remains one of the most haunting cold cases in U.S. history. His family, particularly his father, continued to search for answers long after the official investigation wound down. The case has left a lasting impact, not only on the Martin family, but also on the Great Smoky Mountains community, and the many searchers who spent weeks in the wilderness hoping for a different outcome. As the years go by, the mystery only deepens, leaving behind lingering questions and a painful void for those who loved Dennis Martin. The case that perhaps best encapsulates the mystifying nature of missing persons is the infamous Dyatlov Pass incident, one of the most baffling and enduring mysteries in modern history. In January 1959, 9 experienced Soviet hikers, 7 men and 2 women, led by Igor Dyatlov, set out on a challenging winter expedition into the Ural Mountains, specifically aiming to reach the summit of Mount Otorten. All members of the group were skilled, seasoned adventurers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, well prepared for the brutal weather conditions and the treacherous terrain. However, what started as an ambitious journey soon turned into a nightmare, leaving behind a trail of cryptic clues and unanswered questions. Weeks after the hikers were last heard from, when they failed to return on schedule, a search party was dispatched to find them. What searchers uncovered deep in the snow-covered wilderness horrified everyone. The hikers' tent was discovered eerily abandoned, torn open from the inside, as though they had fled in a panicked rush. Even more disturbing was the fact that their belongings, including their warm clothing, boots, and provisions, were left behind in sub-zero temperatures, an inexplicable act for seasoned mountaineers. As rescuers followed the group's path, they found the bodies of the hikers scattered across different locations, some barefoot, and dressed only in light clothing despite the harsh weather. The condition of the bodies raised even more questions. While some of the hikers appeared to have died of hypothermia, others bore bizarre and inexplicable injuries. 2 of the bodies had fractured skulls, while another had severe chest trauma likened to the force of a car crash. One hiker was even found with their tongue missing, while another's body had unexplained radiation traces. Oddly, there were no visible external wounds to explain these injuries and no signs of struggle or foul play at the scene. Adding to the mystery, reports from nearby residents spoke of strange lights in the sky on the night of the incident, leading to rampant speculation about what had happened in the remote wilderness. Over the decades, countless theories have emerged to explain the Dyatlov Pass incident, ranging from the plausible to the fantastical. Some have suggested that an avalanche or a rare weather phenomenon known as a katabatic wind might have driven the hikers to flee their tent in terror, only to meet their deaths in the harsh conditions. Others have pointed to the possibility of Soviet military experiments going awry, possibly involving secret weapons or missile tests, which may explain the strange injuries and the radiation found on some of the victims. A more outlandish theory involves an attack by a yeti or some other unknown creature lurking in the wilderness. Some even suggest extraterrestrial involvement, citing the mysterious lights and the lack of a rational explanation for the hikers' behavior and injuries. Despite multiple investigations, including a recent inquiry in 2019 by Russian authorities, no definitive explanation has ever been reached. The official cause of death remains listed as a compelling natural force, leaving the true nature of the event up to interpretation. The Dyatlov Pass incident continues to captivate and puzzle researchers, conspiracy theorists, and adventurers alike, who are drawn to the enigma of what caused 9 experienced hikers to flee their tent in such a panic and meet their tragic ends in the frozen wilderness. To this day, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most perplexing and haunting mysteries of the 20th century, its unanswered questions casting a long shadow over the rugged Ural Mountains. As we delve into these and other cases, we're reminded that the mystery of missing people is an ongoing one. Despite the progress made in forensic science and investigative techniques, there are still countless individuals whose disappearances remain unsolved. It's a sobering reminder of the importance of awareness and vigilance in our own lives. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the world of mysteries. If you have any theories about what might have happened in these cases, be sure to share them in the comments below. And if you're ready for more intriguing mysteries, be sure to check out our next video, where we'll explore more baffling cases that will leave you questioning the truth.